It's recording.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to the Thursday, May 26th Trinity County Fire Safe Council meeting. Excited to have you all here today. We're going to go ahead and start with introductions. So my name is Amelia Flights and I'm the Trinity County Fire Safe Council coordinator. I'm going to go around and then we'll end with the conference room. So move to Mike.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Catoni. I'm the Deputy Director of Health and Human Services and the Office of Emergency Services, and currently serving as the main point of contact for OES.
Welcome. Nice to have you here. And Carol?
Hi, everybody. So I just changed my name from Pat to Carol. I'm Carol Fall. I am the chairman of the Fire Safe Council and the assistant chief up in Trinity Center Volunteer Fire Department. And let's see, let's go to Dave Johnson.
Hello, my name is Dave Johnson. I'm the Forest Health Coordinator for the Trinity County Resource Conservation District. Let's jump to Mike Cotlone.
Mike just introduced himself.
Oh, sorry. Let's jump to Amelia then.
We'll go to Jerry.
Hi, all. Jerry Cousins, collaborative member, and I'll push it over to Larry Glass.
Howdy, Larry Glass represents safe alternatives for our forest environment.
Thank you for being here. Let's jump to Nancy.
Hi, Nancy Anderson. I'm just tuning in. I submitted an application to be the Lewiston, I forget what you call the positions you were looking for.
Local area advisor.
Yeah, so I just was tuning in early. I didn't hear back anything, but I know somebody just got married. So I figured it was in the works.
Yes, it is. And Dave?
Yeah, Dave DeLang, Trinity Public Utility District Vegetation Program Manager. I'm on the road, but trying to join in.
Thank you for joining us. And in the conference room, who do we have?
I'll go. Kelly Sheen, District Manager for the Trinity County Resource Conservation District.
Maya Williams, Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Trinity County RCD.
And Chris Cole, Trinity County RCD Forest Health Program Manager.
We have Taylor Fritch of Nrcs joining us.
Taylor, do you want to just introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Sorry, I'm logging on late. Yeah, I'm Taylor Frederick. I'm the acting district conservationist in the Weaverville NRCS office.
Welcome. I think that's everybody.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have any additions or changes to the agenda? I think got a pretty short agenda today. We should be able to move through pretty quick. Let's see, do we have any presentations? No? Okay. Discussions? No. How about any grant updates for folks?
I guess I could.
Has 2 grant updates. And Mike, why don't you go first?
Okay. Actually, so there's the evacuation routes grant, which I have some paperwork to route. We've been approved for that, but I got the application such that I'll be getting back to the state tomorrow, and we'll be moving forward with that.
That's great.
So that's the evacuation routes that RCD applied for with the county to do the mapping of the routes. So now that we'll have our zones finalized, and Mike, I wanted to touch base with you. Hayfork was, at my Hayfork meeting, they referenced that they already had some prioritized routes somewhere, but I'm not familiar with any of that. So if we could find, look through the Trinity County records and see if there were old prioritized routes and dig those out, and then we can then focus our efforts on mapping those and sharing those maps if possible.
I have a question about the routes. So once they're approved and mapped, does somebody then coordinate making sure the routes are clear, clean, and accessible? Is there any coordination with that implementation?
So the Forest Service, especially the South Fork Management Unit, has used that old list to get funding to clean their roads and to maintain their roads.
Okay.
So I would say that there hasn't been a concerted coordination effort in the past, but that the Forest Service is utilizing the information to try to do that. But I think once we bring this back up, that we can pull all of that coordination part into the forefront and work on it, Jerry. That's a great thought.
Yeah, that'd be a great talking point to have with the Forest Service for sure.
Yeah.
So just checking. So this funding is from the California Fire Safe Council. Is that correct?
It's CAL FIRE.
Oh,
Yeah.
CAL FIRE.
It was, we applied through the California Fire Safe Council grant portal for CAL FIRE, but CAL FIRE seems to be doing the grant administration because we got emails from their grant administration staff today for forms and that kind of stuff.
Okay, great. And I think it was checking the local hazard mitigation plan, where, is that where they thought that the routes had been identified? Maybe not. I just had that in my notes. Okay, all right. So Amelia, you have other grant updates?
Yeah, so we were not awarded for the CAL FIRE block grant for the EFRT. So that's the Emergency Forestry Response Team for Trinity County. We did not get any funding for that.
And that was kind of to handle things like the downriver, you know, kind of be kind of ahead of the game in terms of if we had another storm like the downriver storm. Is that correct?
The downriver storm, but also working on post-fire. So improving our seed collection and seed storage for the county to have multiple seed stocks for the diverse trees of Trinity County on hand so that we could grow them out as needed in the future, as well as working with current landowners to do the CEQA to get their timber off the land and then work on their restoration, partnering with Nrcs to do that. So we just received the notice yesterday or today, or like last week, probably while I was out, that we did not get that. And their system, I guess, has a built-in email that needs to accept that I have read the email. And every time my email sent out my out of office, it sent me another one of those emails. So I had about 300 of those sitting in my inbox this morning that I had to click through and delete.
Okay. All right. So anybody have any other updates on grants that are have been applied for or awarded or are upcoming that people might be interested in applying for? So any other grant updates?
Yeah, I had one that it's just something we're gonna be looking at. It's not out yet, but the Sierra Nevada Conservancy is gonna come out with another round of funding, and it should be early June that the request for proposal comes out with all the official stuff. I haven't seen it yet. It hasn't come out, but both us and the Watershed Center were successful in getting some funding from them. The last round they did around 6 months ago. So that's something to be heads up about if people want to apply for that. And the RCD is planning on putting in 2 separate asks for that. One, doing work with primarily with the Forest Service, with the Petty John, which is one we didn't get last time. And then another project working more closely with SPI. So I'll definitely get more updates as those get closer, but that's just one to, check their website about if people are interested in funding from the Sierra Nevada Conservancy.
Okay, and the only thing I can add is that I think the California Fire Foundation grant funding is available right now. I believe the grants are due June 11th or something like that. So that funds local fire departments for fuel reduction efforts, PPE and stuff like that. So I'm sure
We'll
we'll,
make sure that link's in the next email, Carol.
yeah, that'd be good. I mean, we'll talk about it at the Chiefs meeting, but anyway, that's a nice pot of money. We've been successful getting a couple grants. One was for fuel reduction around Trinity Center and one was for wildland fire equipment. So, okay, so that sounds like that's it for grant application updates.
We have one more coming through. So our partnership with Humboldt County Fire Safe Council is still in the works, and we will probably have that funding available within the next month. We're just finalizing the contract right now. Another thing on that is that the Travis Ranch was awarded their CAL FIRE Forest Health Grant. And the RCD is acting as the lead in their CEQA on that. And so that's another project that is moving forward within Trinity County.
Cool, okay.
And that's mostly for August complex recovery, forest improvement. And I was able to go out there yesterday and talk with their forester and see their units and get a good understanding of what they're planning to do. And they've got some beautiful work planned. They're doing fuels reduction in their oak stands. Everything under 8 inches is going to be removed and everything dead and treated as fuel reduction, so pile burning. And then in their timber stands, they're going to do same thing. Everything live under 8 inches will be taken, and then dead as well. They're going to leave the large snags for wildlife. And then they're looking to do more than a traditional standard replanting for harvest. They're going to do a bit more of a biodiverse matrix in their replanting. So it's a pretty cool project.
Cool. Okay. So before we move on to Fire Safe Council Coordinator updates, Xander Winters joined us from the Watershed Center. So we missed you during introduction. Xander, do you want to just do a quick introduction so everybody else knows who you are?
Yeah, thanks, Carol. I'm Xander Winter. I'm the forester at the Watershed Center in Hayfork and work a lot. My projects are in the forestry and fuels program here.
Great. Okay, thanks for coming in. Okay, so Amelia, how about Fire Safe Council Coordinator updates? You've been busy.
Really? I thought I was bored. Very busy May. We had a lovely May. So we had our first Wildfire Preparedness Day. And it went well. You know, nobody got hurt. We only broke one tent, which was 100% my fault, Kelly. And so really well, we had, I believe I counted a total 58 participants. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Sorry. I'm at home at the moment. But 58 participants and 46 agency or volunteer representatives at our booths. So, you know, that was great. And hopefully we just continue to build this. We got some really good feedback that one, it was a away weekend for some of the sporting events. Two, maybe we should look at some food or some music. So we're going to continue looking at this and try to make it better and better each year. And hopefully we'll get more participation. You know, I still think we'll always have the until it's in their backyard, they won't care kind of mentality sometimes. So we're just going to keep trying to do what we can to get them to engage with us and to come to our events, which is where our neighborhood ambassadors come in. And so that will be moving forward shortly. Then we had Trinity Center Wildfire Preparedness Day. So I was up there with Carol and her crew. And I counted about 20 people that I interacted with up there. And so that was a good day. Just got to share some good information. In May, we did continue with our evacuation zone planning with the Sheriff's Department. We have one more edit that we need to work on. And so hopefully we'll be getting that finished up this next week so that we can get everything off to the printer. Hi, Deborah, welcome. And then let's see what else we have that we're working on. Once those zones are finished, we're also going to print out new map books for all of the counties and get those updated on Avenza to have evacuation zones in the map books. So we'll be looking to get those distributed, the map books distributed at the Chiefs meeting in July, Carol. Hopefully we can get all of the materials here in time to get that done. Let's see. We had intended to go to the Wildfire Youth Fair in Willow Creek. However, our intended participant was unable to attend due to COVID. So we had to sit that one out as a lot of the rest of us were already tied up in other events that weekend. Same thing, we Randy was put from the Watershed Center was potentially going to go to the community meeting downriver on the 14th in Willow Creek, but she was unable to attend as well. So we weren't able to make ourselves available for those downriver meetings. So hopefully planning to hit those soon. I do have my tabling schedule set, and I'll be looking to start circulating that. And so I'll be moving around throughout the county just to table at the post office and the grocery stores to get more information out. So that starts on June 8th and it runs through, I finished that on July 9th. So I'll be moving around quite a bit. So mostly office in the morning and then out in the afternoons on those days. Let's see, we're still working on getting our Grizzly Corps members in place. We still have some more interviews we need to do for that. We had our first meeting with the Trinity County Sheriffs and code enforcement on the vegetation management plan. And we got some good feedback. We are assessing the language in some of the vegetation management plans around us. And I'm also going to invite Butte County to potentially come speak to code enforcement and potentially to the Fire Safe Council about how they implement their vegetation management plan and what we can learn about it, learn from them and get their lessons learned. Oh, our community chipping program for May went very well. I'll let Dave and Chris kind of cover what the Trinity County Resource Conservation District did, but I did get an email from Randy who apologizes for not being able to attend today, how theirs went. She said that their numbers weren't very high for the actual day of events. She said more people called or turned their forms in later. So on the specific days that they had designated, they had 2 landowners from Hayfork, 1 from High and Palm, and 2 in South County. But she said that they had quite a few more calls and forms that were completed late. And they have a few more days of work that they're planning to go out and complete as well, just as part of that effort. So she's gonna give me a full summary of everything that they did and that the hours that were completed and the acres that were completed by June 8th. So working on getting all those numbers turned in and collected. My intent moving forward is to look at doing a quarterly survey to our project managers and our program managers and project coordinators across the agencies for Firewise reporting. So I'm hoping that if I can break it into smaller chunks, we might be able to capture some more information and capture a bit more about how much money is being invested in these communities and break it down by were they doing planning for a future project? Were they actually implementing for a future project? Did they attend a community meeting? Did they host a community meeting? And so I'm gonna get a bit more of that breakdown here shortly. I'm just gonna put together a Google survey and see a Google form survey and see how it works. I'm gonna try it. So hopefully I'm not pestering everybody so much in November and December when these Firewise applications are due over the holidays and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna see if this new strategy helps us. That is all I have for right now.
Thanks, Amelia. Now that you're an old married lady, you know, so anyway, anybody have any questions for Amelia?
Amelia, I just wanted to comment that I walked through the Weaverville Day here and I thought it was great and people were engaged, people were listening and really processing things. So nicely done.
Thank you, Jerry. And thank you to those of you in the room who helped attend or put on that event. I thought it was very nice.
Yeah, Deborah gets extra points for the awesome grand prize for the raffle. The purple air thing was amazing. So thank you. Thanks to the Air Quality Management District. Okay, so if we don't have any questions for Amelia, I think we'll go ahead for project updates. I'm gonna go in reverse order this month. So how about if we start with the Watershed Center as far as what projects you are currently doing and updates since last month. Take it away, Xander.
Thanks. This will start with the reasonably good weather we've been having. We're trying to keep our masticator busy. He's been working on a bigger federal project down in the Dubakela area. Moving to Hayfork soon for some smaller private mastication jobs. The saw crews have been keeping busy, partially thanks to the community chipping day. And they've been moving around, and we just partnered with Post Mountain Volunteer Fire Department with a grant they received to do some ingress egress work there. Kind of shorter term. Moving to the east, I'm getting through compliance on the Wells Mountain fuel break, which is on Sierra Pacific Industries land. That'll connect Highway 3 at Hayfork Summit with a fuel break running south to just about the east fork of the Hayfork Creek. Then Bowerman Ridge cooperative fuel break project. We're doing our sensitive resource assessments now. We've got heritage out there working, botany is out there working, hydrology is out there working, and we're hoping to scope for that project sometime a little bit later in June. So we're excited to keep pushing that along. That's what I have for my projects anyways. Any questions on those?
No, I met your crew out yesterday. I was working at Bowerman Barn and they were down. Mark Arnold noticed that there had been some vandalism to the cupules down below the barn. So yeah, they're doing good work and they're looking at everything. That's great. So
Great,
any
thanks.
questions? Any questions for Xander? Okay. How about Trinity PUD, Dave?
Yeah, we're full bore trying to remove more hazard trees from the forest. I don't know, all of you are pretty aware of the tree mortality that's going on in Trinity County, and pretty serious. All of our reclosers are on non-reclosing settings. So if there is an contact. They will not reclose, and we'll have to be out and patrol the entire section of line prior to re-energization. And had a couple of CDF con crews do some nice clearing along Lewiston Lake area on that 12 kV right away. And yeah, just trying to keep the lights on.
So Dave, I have a question. So when you're looking at hazard trees, so you know the line that goes through our property that serves Northern Trinity. We just had a fir die. I think it's about maybe 20-inch DBH. That's maybe 50 feet from the line. Is that the kind of tree that you would think about removing?
If it's dead and can hit the line, I absolutely think.
All right, I'll send you some information. It's on the Forest Service piece of the line.
Sure.
Does it?
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's gonna
yeah, I
fall
can
on
come
our
out.
transformer.
Okay.
All right,
come out
I
and
will
take a look.
send you the information. I'll send it to you. I just was curious, like, you know, were they hazard
Sounds good.
trees? Okay, anyway. All right, so.
Yeah, we're just trying to prioritize, you know.
Right, this one just died, so hopefully it won't fall over anytime soon. I don't know. Okay, so,
most likely get to it before winter then.
good. How about, Dave or Chris, do you want to give us an update for the Trinity County RCD?
Yeah, I can, yes, do the forest health update. So our crews have been busy. We've mostly completed the implementation that was with a joint project through the watershed center up on Tucker Hill, the ridge line just kind of northwest of the rest stop there. And they've completed an additional like 8 acres, around 8 acres this period. And then we have been working with on federal land up on in the Musser Hill area. They've completed around 8 acres so far up there as well. And then continuing work for the BLM out in the Indian Reading Creek area for another 8 or so acres. And then a lot of our this month was pretty heavy on the chipping because it was the community chipping month. And we had, I think, a lot of success, and this was definitely the most chipping we've ever done in a month for anything, at least since I've been here, which hasn't been that long. So we went to Coffee Creek, and there were around 5 parcels up there, and that was around like 9 acres of estimated treated area. And so just so people are familiar, the property owner gives them a kind of estimate of what they've treated, and then we kind of double check that to make sure it makes sense. So some of the parcels versus acreages are different because some people, you know, we have to spend half a day there chipping, and that's, as long as it's getting the work done, we're all about it. Trinity Center, we treated 17 parcels, again for around 9 acres. In Lewiston, we did 12 parcels for around 5 acres. Weaverville, we did 18 parcels for 17 acres. And then in Douglas City, it was around 8 parcels for 7 acres. Junction City was 7 parcels for 16 acres. So some of those were a little more effort to do. And then downriver, we went out to downriver again, as some more people had called in, and we did 5 parcels for around 1 acre. And so we had already hit downriver pretty hard. So there wasn't nearly as much this time as there was previously. So overall, it was around 73 separate parcels and about an estimated 65 acres of treatment. So which is pretty solid. And so I think, yeah, as long as we can keep that up, and lots of people, you know, just from conversations with them, likely wouldn't have done some of that work if they didn't know we were coming to chip it, because the cost to haul it are expensive. And then lots of people with good reason are a little more hesitant to burn piles and things like that. And then the season's kind of over for that anyway. So yeah, it was a successful month, and yeah, we'll just keep on it. And in the near future, we're going to be continuing work in the Musser Hill area, as well as heading back out to Indian Creek. And then we've also started doing some more of our Lewiston project, and we're working at Rush Creek, and that's on BLM land. And so yeah, after that, then we're do some more fuel breaks up in the Little Browns Creek area, doing some roadside treatments, as well as we've been contacting a bunch of the landowners that kind of live up on Browns Mountain, like up at the top there. And we want to essentially put in a fuel break, probably nothing huge, and that'll go like from private land onto SPI. So that's some of the upcoming stuff. And then I guess if people have questions, I can try to answer them.
Anybody have questions for Chris? Dave, do you have a report?
I just got all the same information. We recently got a third chipper, so we're just doing great in the chipping department.
Okay, I'm waiting for you to come up to my place.
I have
how
one.
about
I have one thing.
Kelly?
Yeah, I have one thing to add. In anticipation of the agreement that we're currently in works with Humboldt County, that's going to address some of the issues downriver. I'm working up an MOU with my counterpart at the Humboldt County RCD that sort of will formalize roles and allow us to work within their jurisdiction. And that should be, we're hoping to go to our boards this next month, at least in draft form.
Good, great thinking ahead. Any questions then for the RCD staff? No. Okay, let's see, Jerry, do you have an update for the Trinity County Collaborative? You did a field trip, right?
Sure. One comment is we had a collaborative meeting last week and it was very poorly attended. So we're putting the word out for people to re-engage with the collaborative. We're kind of reviewing what we've done and where we need to go and trying to generate some more energy. Collaborative did do a field trip couple, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I guess, with Tara Jones out to the West Side Plantations up towards Indian Valley. And we stopped at part of the pilot project, which now we're told has been signed. And Tom Walsh, the collaborative member, explained the programmatic approach to marking for the pilot program. And Tara was very appreciative of that. So she kind of understands and groks the concept of what we're doing for shaded fuel breaks, and has agreed that once the marking crew actually goes out to mark the sale, collaborative members can go along and kind of talk with them and walk with them and explain what we're wanting to do and make sure it kind of meets what the intention is. Then we also viewed a couple of plantations that were worked on and just trash timber cut up were just left on site, and everybody agreed that more work has to happen. And it was another one of those unexpected snowy days up high. So it was a cold day, but it was really worthwhile to get out. We always have found that sitting in Zoom meetings or looking at maps and rooms is not as good as being on the ground and looking at trees and walking about. Much more gets done, much more is explained and understood. So I'll just ask Larry, he was on the trip too, a collaborative member. Do you have any other stuff, Larry?
Yeah, I just would want to emphasize that, the lack of fuel reduction that took place in those in the West Side project, and how it was helpful getting Tara right there on the scene to show her how bad the situation was. I felt like the project had actually made the fire conditions worse by the time they finished. So she's agreed to modify some of what they're doing to try and mitigate that.
Is that because they cut the fuel and then just left it there?
Yeah, just hacked it up and left it laying on the ground. So you had actually a worse condition than what we started with.
And there was some talk about replicating what the Six Rivers does as far as cleanup and bringing trees up to the road or hauling them down to a central place so community members would have access for firewood. So kind of, initializing that model.
Right.
Yeah, we're real enthused working with Tara Jones. She seems to really get it and wants to make things happen. So
Good, good. Thank you for doing the field trip in the snow. Anybody have any questions for Jerry and Larry about the Trinity County Collaborative, what they're doing? Okay, so I think next we'll move on to Mike Catone with Trinity County OES. Any project updates?
Yeah, a few updates. So number one, I've just been trying to get up to speed to where Ed was on all the different grants and projects. There's quite a few of them. Of course, our big focus this time of year is training. So we held our EOC training for some of the actually staff from our Health and Human Services Department, as well as quite a few folks from the Sheriff's Office, probation. We had a really good turnout for our EOC training, which we did over a span of a few days in April, and then that was mid-April, and then the last week of April we held a series of 3 different exercises where we just walked through, a fire start, and hear Ed, talk about, and he usually uses, good examples of things that have happened in the past, so we can kind of follow along and just decide what we would do as an EOC to respond to those incidents. And then coming up here in a couple of weeks, we'll have our what we call EMMA training, which is Emergency Management Mutual Aid. So we need to request aid from other jurisdictions. We can do that. Project-wise, we have a generator project for the courthouse to provide emergency power there in the event of power outages. We're still waiting on the generator and transfer switch to come in. Of course, we've had all kinds of supply problems that everybody's probably familiar with. We're able to transfer a batch of radios to the Weaverville Fire Department. Those are portable radios. We're also able to provide a UTV trailer for environmental health. So now they have a side-by-side and a trailer to pack it around on, and that's been useful for them working on the cleanup up in Coffee Creek to go scout out those areas. And then one of the projects that we have ongoing is for sirens to be placed in various communities where they don't have good cell service to get our code red emergency notifications. We have 3 of the 4 sirens that we have now have been distributed. So our next steps are to confirm that those places all have locations identified so we can work on helping get those installed. And once they're installed and the jail's dispatch system is up and running at the new jail, then we can hook those into that system so that dispatch basically will be able to activate those in a time of disaster. And then just wrapping up our next round of our Homeland Security Grant Program, which starts, it's for the fiscal year. Well, for them, it's 2 fiscal years starting this year. So the funding will come available later in the fall, but I'm planning on getting another batch of 4 sirens. So I'll be looking out to the various communities to find out where those would be best be utilized. And I welcome any input from folks here if you want to shoot me an email or.
So where are the 4 locations where they initially have gone to?
So picking up from where Ed had started off, we have the 3, which are Weaverville, Burnt Ranch, and Mad River. And I believe the 4th was meant for Trinity Center. So maybe I could talk to you, Carol, and we could talk about potential locations for that.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have one on top of the fire station, but we developed a roof leak, so they took it out. I'm going to check with Coffee Creek because Coffee Creek is the one that has 0 cell service. So code red notifications are really hard to get up there. So they might actually be a higher priority, but I can check with their chief.
Great.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
great.
And other than that, I did have been in touch with Amelia regarding the local area advisors. I'm working on the board item. I'm hoping to get that to appoint the two for Cedar Flat and High and Palm at the June 7th board meeting. So I'm just about got that agenda item ready to submit. So I think that's all I have right now.
Mike, this is Deborah Harris from North Coast. I'm getting ready to send out the pre-wildfire meeting information to set up a brief pre-wildfire discussion with Trinity County OES and Public Health. And it kind of sounds like you've had a change in staffing. I was wondering if would be possible if you could send me an email with the people that you feel would be benefit most from participating in that training, that discussion.
Sure.
Thank you.
I have a question too, just what maybe to Mike and to Amelia. How are you doing with recruiting ambassadors and local area advisors? Do you have big holes? Are you having more people than you need? Can you give us a sense?
For the neighborhood ambassadors, we are going to try to pilot the program this year with 10, and we have surpassed that. So the neighborhood ambassador is going well. The local area advisor is lacking. I'm trying to dance right now between interested community members and concerns from the chiefs. So I have had applications that were submitted that the chiefs did not approve, essentially, that they didn't think that those people knew enough about fire or knew enough about management teams or anything like that to participate. So I'm trying to sort that out at the moment. But the local area advisors is not hitting off as I had thought it would.
Can you give us a sense of what areas are lacking, and maybe, some of us could reach out to people we know in those communities?
We don't have a local area advisor for Weaverville. I'll tell you that.
Oh, wow.
The local area advisors, the only two that have moved forward are Cedar Flat, and that's under Hawkins Bar Fire Department, and High and Palm. Those are the only two that are moving forward. Everywhere else in the county does not have a local area advisor. But the neighborhood ambassadors are doing pretty well. We have one from most of the communities at this point. I think there's still some in the south that probably need some of the neighborhood ambassadors. I'd have to go and look, but the northern communities all have at least one application for a neighborhood ambassador. So those are looking good, but the local area advisors, I think it's a harder position because it's a.
Sure. Could you send out just what the requirements and expectations are for the local area advisors? So as people reach out, they kind of have that to share with people?
It is on the website too.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, on the Fire Safe Council website.
If you scroll down in the email today that I sent this morning, that where the link didn't work, it should be in there.
Okay.
Just
Okay, thanks. I'll look at it. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. So any questions for Mike then before we move on? Let's see, I think next is Trinity Center Volunteer Fire Department. Our big news up here is Hobel Dump is now accepting brush again after years. So we went, woohoo! So instead of having to haul stuff to Weaverville or wait for the chipping, we can now take brush to the dump. So people are pretty excited. So no more excuses for not doing your defensible space.
So Carol, how are you disposing of the brush at that location?
So I believe they had the tub grinder come.
Okay.
It looks like Looked like the tub grinder came, and so it was because it's been years since they
Uh-huh.
let us leave brush there, it had kind of composted down.
Yeah.
So it looks like the tub grinder came with the claw and picked up the stuff on the top. And then the rest they just pushed further away into a pile.
Okay.
So now they have a big compost pile of brush, but it made room for them to add more. So I would much rather have them come up with maybe an air curtain burner or something, but
Mhm.
for now, I think it was the tub grinder. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
It came when nobody knew.
Thank you.
Okay, so and it's you're up now, Deb. What do you think? What's up with the Air Quality Management District?
Sorry, folks. I had somebody come to my window. Well, I attended your wildfire event this month in Weaverville, and I have to give many compliments to Amelia and all the participants. It was a wonderful event. For the first kickoff event, it was fabulous. I see great things ahead, and I'm glad we could provide the purple air. That was the first time we've done that, and I think it's a sure winner, and we'll try to keep it going with future events. We're gearing up to do wildfire, pre-wildfire meetings with public health and OES for all 3 counties. We're currently receiving information and putting it out there for grants for clean air shelter equipment, amendments to HVAC systems for entities, schools, counties to do amendments to their HVAC and equipment for clean air shelters during smoke events. So I plan on getting that out before I leave on vacation on the 3rd. I'll be out from the 3rd to the 12th, but my goal is to get that out as soon as possible. And we're just gearing up for wildfire season and getting the purple airs up and out and touching base with everyone. So if you have anything you'd like us to add or amend, or you have any ideas, I'd sure appreciate them. I would also like to kind of ask for your input. We're having some issues with the East versus West Trinity County designation and burn permits. And I've requested CAL FIRE do another news release that kind of clarifies that. I know that burning is suspended, but there's been some confusion and people have been burning when they shouldn't be. So any input from this group would be appreciated because you guys are in the communities and you have a good idea of what would work. That's it for me.
Do you have a really nice map showing the split?
I have the map CAL FIRE put out with their news release.
Okay.
And it's not really not, I mean, it's okay, but I only know the jurisdiction because I've implemented it for so long. For the public, I think, and I've kind of proposed this to CAL FIRE, they need to do a little bit better job when they put out their news release, because people are kind of really confused about East versus West. And I think a little more information would go a long way and make things more understandable. So if you have any suggestions, I'd like to put them forth to CAL FIRE so we can kind of get people situated and reduce the problems over in Eastern Trinity.
It might be easy enough to do a mailer and say you're in the East and this is what code you need to follow, and you're in the West, this is what code you need to follow. Because then you'll hit every address in those 2 zones and it will clearly designate, okay, you're East and you're West. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
An emailer from our point of view would only go to those people that have current burn permits. that wouldn't talk to those people who don't have current burn permits, because there was some confusion as far as the CAL FIRE permit online. And now they've backed off of that and they accepted our permit. So it won't reach everybody. So there needs to be a public outreach other than district email, because it is on, not specifically on their permit, but
I'm proposing a mailbox mailer, a PO box, a county-wide.
But, you know, but people don't necessarily live where their PO box
Yeah.
is.
Well, we don't have, well, I'm not familiar with doing a mass mailing based on PO box and getting that together. I just think CAL FIRE could do a little bit better job, maybe in the beginning, and then recycle it again in 2 weeks. And then, you know, get it out there in the public in the first place. That was my idea, because they're the big agency and they have the bucks to do it.
Yeah, I think some of their language this year was a little difficult as well. They mentioned
dooryard
burning as well. And I was like, can't you just like knows what that is? Most people just say backyard burning. Like,
well, they use that because that's in their regulations. So
it just needs a little bit more explanation that's not clear to the public as to what dooryard burning means. Does that mean you're burning in the timberlands that they're making doors out of? Does that mean they're like, what does that mean?
Well, if you get a burn permit, it tells you it's got the
Yeah.
dooryard burn permit, dooryard burning on your burn permit. So,
well, that's if it's the CAL FIRE permit, but our permit doesn't call it dooryard.
It calls it
residential burning.
Even on a non-standard?
On a non-standard, it doesn't reference dooryard. At least.
Okay, so Deborah, is there a way, you know, when you have, this would only help you with the people who actually have burn permits, but when they call in to find out if they have a burn permit, you know, there's the zone 1, 2, 3. Is there a way to add language that would describe generally, you know, if you're in the eastern part of the county, you know, east of, you know, whatever landmarks, you know, you whatever other restrictions apply.
Currently, because we have 2 CAL FIRE units and some of the residents that are above 3,000 feet are in zone 3 that are in Humboldt-Delnort unit. And then the burning is still allowed, but then in all the other areas in zone 3 that are in Eastern Trinity, it's suspended. So the language this time of year is a novel, basically. It's quite detailed, unfortunately not about coverage areas, but just get people to get the CAL FIRE permit if they can still burn, and to make sure those people in Eastern Trinity know that it's suspended. So
okay, well, I agree. It's a confusing issue and something we need to work with CAL FIRE on making their message clear. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
so
you know, they send out the suspension
mm-hmm.
and maybe have a separate attachment that explains Eastern from Western. So people can go, I'm in Western or I'm in Eastern. So usually what we do is we use the Siskiyou, or not Siskiyou, Shasta Trinity National Forest is Eastern and 6 Rivers is Western. So.
Okay. All right. So maybe we'll put it on our list of things to ask them about. Definitely.
Well, I've already put in one request, but I would like to have suggestions so I could possibly expand on it for next time. So we kind of, CAL FIRE and everyone that's involved in burning comes out of the gate with a clearer picture. And because that'll benefit everybody.
Right. I mean,
Thank
would it help? Would it help if we talked them into just saying all of Trinity County versus, the different CAL FIRE units? I mean, I know that we're split into 2 units, but could the 2 units kind of get together and say all of Trinity County is suspended?
That would have to be a discussion between the two chiefs of the units. I could bring that up to the Humboldt Del Norte unit chief. He's very open to suggestion, and it would be up to him if he wanted to suggest that. Over here in Western Trinity and Humboldt and Del Norte, they're looking at keeping it open until the 1st if they can do it. So I think conditions over here, they may be focused on, keeping them open to allow more burning in those areas. So it would be up to the CAL FIRE units.
Okay.
I mean, it would be perfectly grand solution, but I don't know how it would fly.
Okay. All right. So something we need to work on.
Yeah, I'd like to get the great people involved in this group, any input, so we can kind of put it together for next year and start from a good base and hopefully make things better, less confusion.
Well, I know we posted it on our Facebook page and on Trinity County Community. A bunch of people posted it with a map and stuff. So, the social media, information was out there, but I don't know how much that sinks in. So,
yeah. No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Deborah about Air Quality Management District? All right. So, last and best, we have Taylor with NRCS. So what's going on with the NRCS?
I don't know if I'm the best, but we have a deadline tomorrow. So, all year we've been accepting applications for a lot of fuels reduction and post-fire projects. And tomorrow is our deadline for submitting them. And then we'll know by June 9th who got funded. So we're hoping to get a few projects in Trinity County funded. So we're really busy with that right now. And then we have our Coffee Creek emergency watershed project, and that should be getting signed off on pretty soon. And I'm guessing work will get started within a month or 2. So that's all I got.
Do you know who has been dealing with the debris flow there? I noticed that they've been cutting it way back, and I'm not sure who actually is doing that.
I am not sure. I'm not really working with it directly. We have some of our area engineers who are mostly the point people on that, but I'm not quite sure what's going on right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I can ask though.
No, I was just curious. I mean, it's nice to see that the Coffee Creek is actually going around the debris flow instead of kind of underneath it and pushing against it. So that was encouraging for if we ever get more rain.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anybody I missed in terms of project updates?
Safe.
Safe. Oh, I didn't
No,
see
I don't have
one.
anything. I don't have anything to report. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping, well, I don't know. I'm assuming Forest Service and CAL FIRE are really busy. So, but I will check back with Tara. She was supposed to have someone assigned to attend the meeting, so I would like to keep them in the loop. But anybody have any other comments or questions for the good of the group before we adjourn? No? Okay, all right. You guys are doing great work. Keep it up. And we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.